For those of y'all who don't know, we are Brunches of Bunches. We are blessed to have entered this new year and to continue our podcasting platform. And without further ado, we want to introduce Dion, D-Cell, baby, rap artist.
Yo,
We just
what's
really
the deal?
love your music and how you speak life into it from your personal background, you know.
Yeah, much.
And so, yeah, tell us how your journey with music began. When did you first start writing music?
Um, no cap. Like it really started when I was 6 years old. I used to go over to my grandma's house, and she was the biggest Michael Jackson fan that I ever met. So it started with like popping in a Michael Jackson VHS tape. I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And so
Yeah.
I never forget, like I was 6 years old, and I woke up every morning practicing to be just like Michael Jackson. I had the moonwalk down packed. I knew every single dance, and it got to the point to where I wanted to write my own songs, but it was all to Michael Jackson melodies. And so I don't know. And I would perform it for my first grade class every week. So it kept me writing it and everything. And it was in a black and white composition book. I'll never forget that. It was like very basic songs. The songs were probably ass, but at the same time, I'm 6 years old and I love this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, man. And long story short, like that love never faded away. Like it only got stronger and stronger. And I don't know. Like God is good, man. God is good because I've been praying for this since I was 6 years old, literally 6, 7 years old. And being 24, like I'm sitting here still doing the same thing, and I've seen the progression. So yeah, man, this rap shit, this music shit it's in my blood. You know what I mean? I love it so very much. So yeah, man, it's my baby.
Yes.
And I'm curious though, do you still have some of the raps from when you were 6?
Oh, nah, I don't have any of them. Like back when I was 6, like I wasn't even rapping. I was singing. I always wanted to be a singer. And,
I was gonna ask you, why did you venture off into like hip hop? Like, was there a difference between R&B and rap music for you?
For me, I always wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be like one of those singer dancing niggas, like Chris. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was in high school and I joined my like high school chorus class, but at the same time I was on the basketball team and running around with the homies and shit. Like I don't know, like I sort of got a little distant from singing. Like I was embarrassed to sing, and I just felt like I wasn't that good. Puberty, my voice was changing, so I still love music. And I remember my older brother, he told me, "Hey, have you ever heard of Frank Ocean? You should try to like fuck with him. Like you should try to do like the rap singing thing. Like I could see that being good for you." Yeah. And started out with just rapping because I could not sing to save my life, but now I got to a point to where I like found my voice and I could like incorporate that rap singing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's solid now. But yeah, it's definitely been a long ass journey to get to this point.
I'm sure, because with anything that you're like creating, anything that you take seriously, there's a lot of growth as you grow as an individual with your new experiences and all of that. So I know you were raised by a single parent, and you grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I want to know how difficult it's been to like make your mark in LA with all the other upcoming, rap artists. Like how difficult has that been to stand out? And how do you make a way?
Shit, that's a great question. Touching on the growing up with a single parent. Yeah, man, like that was a challenge in its own right. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I just accepted it. Like I was like, this is life. You know what I mean? We could dig deeper into that, as the conversation goes. But that's just a part of the story. That's a part of the story, and you hear it in my music. You hear that, just the pain and soul. You know what I mean? Not to even be dramatic or extra out about this shit, but like, however I felt at that time, you know what I mean? Like now I can put it into my music. And as far as the whole LA rap scene and everything, like I love it. I love it right now, man. Years ago, I called it. I said LA is gonna have like this renaissance of rap.
We talked about that, I think.
Like,
maybe not.
Yeah, I believe we had this. I'm not sure. Conversation with a lot of people though, but yeah, like it was like Atlanta is running shit. Like they had their time, Chicago had their time, the South had their time. And LA has been a little, you know, like a little quiet for us for a cool minute. But now, like, man, I feel like within the next couple of years, like we got the game in a chokehold. And as far as myself, I don't know, it's tough because I feel like out here in LA, everybody makes, not to diss anybody's music, but everybody's music, you know, can correlate in a sense. You know what I mean? Like they all have sound, whether you want to call it traffic rap, whatever the case is, you know what I mean? Or like the auto tune singing, like, you know, it's all hard. It's all hard. But me personally, like when I think about my story, what I want to say, like my voice, who I want to be as an artist, like, I don't know. I really had to think to myself, of course I've gotten discouraged plenty of times before. And I was like, man, like, you know, like I don't fit in with everybody else. But I see that as a blessing. Like there's 7 billion people in this world and there's only one you. There's only one person. My bad, there's a car driving by, but there's only one person that can sing like you. There's only one person that can, you know, share your story. There's only one person that can, you know, like be you. Yeah. And so once I was able to learn that, I saw like within this LA rap scene right now, I could create my own lane. Yeah. And that's what I hope to do. About Chicago, when they were, you know, had the drill movement and everything, Chance the Rapper didn't sound like Chief Keef. He didn't sound like D Herbo, you know what I mean? He didn't sound like none of them. But he ended up, I mean, you know, like that commercial, you know, like artist. And it's just about creating that genuine music and being true to yourself. I'm not gonna fake the funk. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean, like start rapping about shit that, you know, like don't do, or, you know, like, yeah, I'm just true to myself at the end of the day, and you hear it in the music.
Absolutely.
Did you always mindset and already knew that, or is that something that you've learned like over time in your career?
It's something that I learned over time in my career. Honestly, my favorite term or saying is trust your process, not trust the process, but trust your process. And so I would say it was really, because, you know, of course we all went to college together, we went to school together. So it was once I came back home, and back in college I was I was a big fish in a little pond. You know what I mean? Everybody knew of each other, you know, like they would hear the music, I'll be out here at these shows, but now I'm like a goldfish in the ocean. You know what I mean? Like everybody is rapping, everybody is doing something, like, you know. No, of course it was discouraging at first, but it got to the point where like I just had to keep working. And I just found this sound that stuck to me, and I like this shit. That's all that matters. I like this shit. And so like, I don't know, I know there's somebody out there that's gonna feel it as well, but I don't know, it took some time to get to that point mentally, like where I'm like, yo, I love who I am, I love my story, I love my voice, you know what I mean? So it's been a journey though. It hasn't been an easy journey, but it's been a journey.
Yeah. I think a lot of times when people think about the process, a lot of times like people don't stick their process out. And so at the end of the day, it becomes hard for them to own like their challenges, their shadow or whatever it is. And so the people that you see truly making a mark and on a bigger level are the people I feel either pretend or they've learned to, own that.
Yeah.
So,
real talk.
Sorry,
you're solid. But it's like a happy medium of both. There's a lot of people that pretend out there, they fake the funk. You know what I mean? They try to portray this image. And it got to the point to where I stopped worrying about image. It's just more about like me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. You get what you get, you know?
Yeah, you get what you get. I mean,
I think that's really important because like how you said, you're doing it for you, you know, you're not doing it for any other reason, but besides like, this is your thing, you enjoy it, it's your turn. And then I think about like just this week, we had our little tactical staff meeting, and we learned about like what drives someone. Sometimes a lot of people are driven by the what, you know, I want to be a rapper because I want to be rich, I want to be wealthy, I want to make the money.
Exactly. That part.
Yeah. But the people who do it because they're passionate, they believe in the why, like those are the ones that succeed. And they used the analogy or like the reference of the Wright brothers, who like they created the first flight, you know, like the first the mobile to fly. And they weren't the only ones in the business. There were other people who were doing it too, but they were doing it without the money. They were doing it because they wanted to do it. They believed in it. They loved it, and they succeed. You know, the other people that had all the resources, that had all the network and all of that, they didn't succeed as well. So I think that's important. Like, you believe in it because it's what you want to do. It's what you love, you know?
Yeah, real talk. And everybody has their own journey. You know what I mean? And I don't know, a lot of people hop into this music game because it's a wave. Like, I don't know, to tell you the truth, like, it really irritates my soul, like, seeing how many people try to, you know, they think that this music shit is easy. And they think, yo, I'm gonna just make a song. You know what I mean? Or they just, I don't care if you do it for the money. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own different motives. But I just feel like, you know, my love and passion for this shit, like, is what sets me apart.
Your art.
Like, literally, I'm telling you, since I was 6 years old, man, I'll never stop telling this story. Since I was 6 years old, I have been wanting this shit, and it's never been about the money. It's never been about fame. It's never been about any of that. Like, I don't know. It's just having an impact. I want to have an impact on people. Like, I don't know. That's just what I dream for, really. And honestly, it's at the point to where now I'm solid. Like, whether I reached 1,000 people, whether I reached 10,000 people, whether I reached somebody, you know what I mean? So that's really all that matters to me. I don't really give a fuck about the fame, the money, none of that shit. It's really just like, touching people. Yeah. That's it.
But naturally, that's gonna come too, though.
Yeah.
Like,
again,
like the fame, like the money, like that will come.
Yeah, and that comes when you work hard, and that brings me back to talking about like other rappers and stuff who think that it's easy, or just anybody chasing a dream. Like, a lot of times niggas just get complacent or sidetracked because, look, if this shit was easy, like, everybody would be able to do it and everybody would be able to make it. You know what I mean? Nobody ever said that chasing the dream was going to be easy, you know? So the ones that actually get there are the ones that weather the storm and stuff. Yeah, man, like, we all like go through the storm in our own different ways, you know? But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I've been doing this shit my whole entire life. And of course there's been like discouraging moments, but it's my love for this shit that just keeps me going. And I feel like as long as I keep going, like, the sky is the limit for sure.
And I want to take it back to your childhood. What about like growing up in a single, or in better words, what was your experience like? Because I feel like we can narrow that down. Like, a lot of people grew up in single parent households, right? Like you said, there's so much to relate to another person, but the experiences, the trauma, how we took it in, it is going to be different from the next person. So what about your experience can you tell us about?
Yeah, man. So my mom and dad split up when I was probably 7, I'll say. 7, like no older than 8. And that's what, 2nd and 3rd grade. So you're just now starting school and everything. And I remember I used to go to 74th Elementary School. And every year they would do these end of the year field trips where you would go on I don't know, like, you would travel with the class or go to Washington, D.C., go to Astro Camp, all this different shit. And I remember I could never go. I lived in a single parent household. And of course, my mom, she didn't trust her 7-year-old kid just going with all these other parents and teachers and shit. And, like, her not being there, me not having my pops there to, like, help me out. But I just remember missing out on a lot of shit as a kid because my bad, I'm getting a call. Can you guys still see me?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I missed out on a lot of shit, as a kid growing up in a single parent household, but I just considered it life. I was like, it is what it is. You feel me? And yeah, man, don't get me wrong. Like, I love my dad. I love my dad so very much. The relationship hasn't always been the best. God rest his soul. He passed away in 2017. And yeah, man, I just feel like the older that I got, the more that I got to understand. As a kid, you don't understand shit about, like, what your parents are going through, whether it's personal, just their relationship or the marriage, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I learned a lot from life. Like, yeah, it just taught me, like, how to be a man at a young age, like, growing up in a single parent household,
Yeah.
The second oldest. My mom has 4 kids. And yeah, like we just made it happen. Like my mom was always at work. She would be working nights. We would spend the night at my grandma's house, sleeping on the floor. She was just a hustler. She's always been a hustler, and I admire her for. She just on her shit. She's always been about her shit. Like, yeah, I really admire that. But I admire stuff from both of my parents, and I feel like I got a lot of my creativity from my dad.
I feel like at some age, speaking on what you said, as kids, sometimes we don't understand what our parents are going through, and as we get older, we begin to like internalize some of the things that we experienced as children. At what age did you guys and I'm sure everybody can relate to this, so at what age did you guys feel like you can have that conversation with your parents, or you can have that conversation with yourself to like really reflect on your childhood and address some of the things that you've been through? And I would imagine that's still going on as we continue to grow though. But at what age did that become clear? Like that, you know, the trauma that you experienced, oh, that's affecting me in this type of way, you know? How do I get over that? Or how do I bring that up in conversation?
Vicky, you want to go first?
Honestly, I still haven't talked about anything with my parents or family or anything like that. I think for me, I just got to a point where, like, yes, it will be healthy to sort of dive into those things and explore it or talk about it. But where I'm at today, I don't necessarily think it will benefit me. Maybe it could benefit our relationship, but you have to be in the place and the position to be open to that. And I don't know if today's my time. Monday.
Yeah.
Just to be correct, like, so all 3 of us come from a single parent household, correct?
I think it varies. Yeah.
It varies.
With my guardian, like my great aunt. Like I know my mom and dad, but they didn't raise me.
Okay.
And I was co-parented. So my mom, she was a single mother, so I would spend, you know, time with her, and I witnessed what she had to go through. And then my dad, he was married, so I also witnessed that side as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. So that. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's crazy. Like, yeah, I feel like that shit does take a toll on you. Or I don't know. Like, it has a big impact on who you are as a person growing up, the type of parenting you get, the type of love you get from both parents. Shit, like for me personally, like after my pops, after he left, I was at a very young age, and at first we would go over to his apartment, like every weekend, every other weekend to see him, and it would be the best time. It would be the best in the world. None of us would get in trouble. We would just eat Little Caesars hot. But I didn't know my dad was really struggling, and like it was just like a little 1-bedroom apartment. We had bunk beds. And I don't know. Me personally, I feel bad for not appreciating that more as a kid. Just because I had a lot of resentment towards him for, you know, how shit ended between him and my mom. And at the time, I'm a kid, I don't even know how this shit works. You know what I mean? But it's just like when you don't understand, and when you're living with a certain parent, it's like, you know, like you take their side. You know what I mean? That's what was, not putting it on my mom, but like that's just how I came up. That's, you know, I came up seeing her cry, or, you know, hearing her vent, hearing her be angry. That's what I would hear. I didn't hear my dad's side of it. And it hurts to say, but I wasn't able to really have that conversation until 2017 or 2016 when I found out that he had cancer. And yeah, that was a tough day. Like first of all, like the visitation, it lasted for so long, for probably a couple of years, and then it just stopped. They didn't talk to him. Just throughout my whole entire high school experience, my whole entire high school life. You know what I mean? And so I feel like those are years you really need a father figure. You know what I mean? And I don't know, that shit hurt. So I had a lot of resentment in my heart. I'm going through college. Like, I'm still not really even talking to him. He would call every now and then, but I would ignore the calls. And this shit hurt, honestly, because I don't know. I just wish that I handled shit different, but at the same time, it is what it is. But it was when he got sick with cancer, and I didn't know how to call him. I didn't know what to say, and yeah, it took me, I'll say, probably like a day or two before I called. You know, like after I heard the news, and but when I called, like he was just so happy to hear from me, and we were able to talk it out. And throughout like the last year of his life, like, you know, like we spent it with him almost every day, just showing love, just talking to him, letting him know that we love him, and I don't know, just sharing that bond that I always wanted as a kid, that bond that I always wanted growing up. And yeah, like as a young man, like I was able to understand. I was able to understand that sometimes things don't work out with a person, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
love, relationships, whatever the case may be, or sometimes like as a grown man, like you might be going through your own personal shit, like, fighting your own personal demons that, you know, like nobody can help you with. And I did not understand that as a kid, you know what I mean? But I understood it as a young adult, and I'm grateful for the time that I did get to spend with my pops. Not to make shit sad and everything, my bad, y'all.
No, it's real. We love it.
My pops, because yeah, man, I don't know, I was so stubborn, I was so stuck in my ways, and I don't know, it's just like, yeah, I'm happy that I was able to see shit from his side, or, you know, like just see him as a person rather than, you know, like hear my mom vent or cry or be angry or hear the bad things, you know, and that's side. But yeah, man, like long story short, that shit took a tremendous toll. It took a tremendous toll. But yeah, niggas is still here, and I don't know, I got mad love for both of my parents.
Absolutely.
Do you think, looking at their relationship, obviously you, like you mentioned, you were pretty young, so you didn't really understand what was going on, but like, does that play a role in how you love, or like what you look for in your relationships, or like what you think you want in a relationship, like a future relationship, like marriage, something like that? Do you think that like sort of plays a role?
To tell the truth, not really. I'm still trying to figure shit out from my childhood. Like I'm still trying to like put the pieces together and like, you know, learn about myself, see how it impacted me as a person. Like I feel like that's something that, you know, it never really stops. Like we're gonna continue to grow. Like we're gonna be 50 years old, still putting pieces together from our childhood, and you know, like how we were. But at least when it comes to my relationships and just like, yeah, not even my relationships. Like I'm in a relationship, but as far as my relationship now, like I don't even think about my parents, honestly. I don't know if that's weird, but I don't even think about my parents, or yeah, I don't know, the lack of love that I saw in the household. Like, yeah, growing up, like my mom, she didn't date, and I'm glad she didn't date. Like we would have been hot, you know what I mean? Yeah, just growing up, like we didn't see affection in the household. We didn't see that love. Like I don't know, but it hasn't really affected me. Like I still give tons of love. I'm still very affectionate.
And to your point, Z, I think I think it's a subconscious thing. Like, because you probably didn't experience that as you know, a youngin growing up, you probably made it an effort to put yourself out there in a position where you can give love, you know? So I think a part of that, like what you just mentioned, we could be 50 years old and be young because we're still learning about ourselves. We're still willing to, you know, go back to our childhood and find out, you know, what made us the person that we are. But it don't just unfold right away. Like it's always an experience that brings it out of you, you know?
Quick question. I'm sorry, this is just a sidebar. This is a question for you guys. Have you guys ever like gone to therapy or thought about therapy?
V goes, I thought about it.
Yeah. And have you thought about it, or do you go, Vicky?
Yeah, I've been doing therapy since like October 2019. And I think it's a really good experience because sometimes we already know about something in our life, how it affects us. Like we already have the answers. We just don't listen to it, or we don't see it until someone like walks us through it, you know? So I definitely think it's helpful. You go.
Yeah, it's the reason why I asked is because like I started around like October 2019 as well. I don't go any it only lasted for so long, but like it did help me like exponentially, if that's even a word, expeditiously, whatever the fuck. Yeah, it did help me like tremendously though. And just like unpacking that stuff from my childhood, you know what I mean? So like being able to talk to somebody about my relationship with my dad, with my mom, how it was growing up in a single parent household, it helped me learn a lot about myself. So if anybody is listening, I would suggest therapy, man. Like take care of your mental, take care of your chickens. In the words of Marshawn Lynch. But yeah, long story short though, therapy did help me though. So I just want to get you guys' take on that because yeah, gave me a different insider. Like you said, Vicky, like it's like, I don't know. For me personally, like just getting that reassurance from somebody else. Like of course we were thinking it, you know, like we felt this way. But just getting that reassurance from somebody else, you know, like it warms the heart or, you know, brings some type of comfort, you feel me? But I just want to
I kind of want to take it back to the question that you guys both answered about having that conversation with your parents about your childhood. And I want to bring it back up because I had that conversation over quarantine. Like it forced me to have that conversation with my parents. And what I realized is they really just, and I'm grateful for this because they sat there and they listened to me. And then after they kind of just looked at me and it was like, well, what do you do now? You know? And I was like, you know what? I just needed to say that. You know, I just had to say it because I've been holding it in. And I would say like in our relationships, I've been a lot more present. And like, even though sometimes those memories come up, it's a lot more easier to deal with the current situation with, you know, that now that I've been able to express my past with them. But let me take y'all to another question real fast. So knowing what we know as adults, what would you do differently as,
Girl, that was my
question. And I have another one for our activity. I'm gonna try to shoot these out.
All right. Knowing what we know now as adults, what would we do different as a parent?
Yeah.
I would just, no matter what the fuck I'm going through, I would just like continuously be there. Whether I moved away, whether shit didn't work out with me and my kid's mom, I'm still gonna be in my kid's life. Like literally, I'm still gonna give love. I don't want no bad blood with nobody. It's gonna be all love.
Yeah. What about you, V?
That's a little hard because I think like everyone else, I've always told myself I want to give my kid everything that I never had, or like all the support and love that I've always wanted. But knowing who I am today, I can tend to be a control freak, and I'm gonna have to work on that because I definitely don't want to be like a helicopter parent, like always involved in everything that my kid does or wants to do. But I do want to be there for support. So we're not there yet. We still exploring. But
it's process.
I think for me, I would like similar to what you said, Woo, like giving them everything that I never had. I would want to teach them a lot of things that I had to learn as an older adult that I struggle with, right? I would want to teach them those hard lessons that they don't teach you in school, they don't teach you in college, but life kind of teaches you. And I just want to open their mind to it so that when they come across it, you know, they know how to deal with it or they have a better experience with it.
That was a good answer.
Okay. But so my next question is for our reflection, our activity. And so basically, we would do those things differently for our kids, but oftentimes we also question like, if I knew what I knew, how do you say? What's the phrase? If I knew now.
If I knew what I know now.
Yes, if I knew what I knew now, right?
Yeah.
What's that one thing you would have told your younger self? Like what would have helped you? Or what words, what wisdom, what support were you looking for that you could have gave yourself?
Fuck what anyone thinks. Do you, boo?
Yeah.
I think I'm a person who would say that I'm pretty sheltered and I like live my life not necessarily just to please other people, but I live my life concerned about what other people think about me, and that affects how I live. And yeah, I would tell myself fuck what other people think.
Period. Woo, yes.
Yeah. Am I able to still answer? Because
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Like, yeah, like fuck what people think. Like, literally, like at the end of the day, nobody's opinions matter. Like, just do you do what the fuck you want to do. Do whatever the fuck makes you happy.
Honestly, that's my answer too. Like, be you 100%. Like, and be kind to yourself as you grow. Give yourself love, and you will emit love. But be you 100%. You not,
Real
That's an ongoing progress goal thing. Like, you'll never that full potential. You'll always be concerned of others, but just have that in the back of your head and just work towards it.
Yes. I love that. Okay. I'm pretty sure we have about maybe 2 minutes. Yep, we got 2 minutes, y'all. So do y'all have a cup, a glass, a little drink so we could do our toast?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. And this toast is basically an affirmation. So I want you guys to affirm. Wait, do you guys want to be parents one day?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the affirmation is going to be, as a parent, I will blank. Okay. And so I guess I can start it so y'all can see the example. So as a parent, I will provide safety and unconditional love to my child.
Vicky?
As a parent, I will be open-minded.
Yes. Ooh, I like that. Yes.
As a parent, I will give endless support and love.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope that you guys will continue to support us through our Zoom calls. Dion, thank you for stopping by as our guest.
Very much.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to have to do a part 2 because, I feel like we barely touched the surface. So
look, we touched the surface. We could link up in person and everything. Yeah, don't forget it.
Yeah, I got you.
Got more to talk about.
Yes, and then do you want to give any shout outs?
Shout out to the love of my life, Valerie. Shout out to my dogs on 111th, Dizzy, Tigo, Chicky. Shout out to Raj, shout out to Vicky for having me on the show, and shout out to E. Kelly and Kelly B as well, my dogs, and AR Cruz, my brother, man. So much love to everybody.
Where can they find your music?
You can find my music on YouTube, on SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you listen to music on, it's gonna be on there. My name is D-Cell. That's D.SEL. Well, D.money_EL, just for copyright reasons. But D.EL. And I got a new tape coming out on Monday, on 111. So be on the lookout for that.
Yes. Okay, y'all. And with that being said, thank y'all for tuning in, and it's a wrap.
Had to show myself just what I